Hi there guys, welcome to the video. Doing a quick speed build for you, about a 30-minute video just to show you how I do things. I've been asked numerous times over the last couple of weeks since the review, how do I get the imagination, what do I do, how do I build this, how do I build that, and so forth. So I thought the best way to do it would be to record about 8 hours worth of work and basically put a little speed build together for you and just do some commentary through it, just explaining how I do things. So basically what we got here is started with shops. That's kind of my foundation, which then comes into the initial foundation, which is basically the haunted cobblestone there, which puts a foundation in for the standard layout of the building of what I'm going to go for. So when I said about imagination, it's literally I've done a pre-fantasy building behind this, or to the right of it if you look at it directly. That's very similar, but it's going to be very different at the same time once obviously you see the end result here if you haven't seen it already. But I try to mix it up and have a similar kind of theme throughout, but change things. So the way the wood is done on the yellow building, for instance, is all diagonally, a few uprights, where you'll see where this comes through. It does look very different by the time it's done. A full bespoke build, so there's very few grid pieces apart from roof and a couple of the triangular sections to be able to finish the roof off to where it connects to the wall, just to save on piece count really. But the nice thing about being a build like this is literally you just build it however you want to really, and there's no restrictions as into where you can put things and so forth. Not that we have that anyway with the grid pieces, because you can move them individually, you just can't tilt them. So yeah, started off with the cottagey thatch style fairy tale-esque look to it. So we've gone for a dark pink, and then you'll notice there's a light pink coming in shortly. So I'll let it run for a little bit, guys, because it's kind of this for a little bit until we get to the woodwork. So here's one for the eagle-eyed viewers out there. If you haven't noticed, I am obviously building on the advanced tool, but I'm using it on a 45-degree angle, so everything is extremely easy to keep control of in respect of angles, sizing, positioning. Everything's kind of in the same angle, which makes things a lot easier, but also at the same time you don't notice that with the building because you're putting different fascias, different angles and so forth. So really easy way of building, but at the same time being able to do things with ease. As you can see here with the wood now, so we're basically trimming it up. You notice I had put a load in and took it all out. Reason being was I was using the small piece, not the big piece. So one thing I try and use of all these builds that I do for everybody is as many big pieces as possible. And reason being is it covers more of a fascia, a larger area should we say. And the reason for that, it basically keeps the piece count down. So the advantage to that is you guys get to enjoy it, providing your system enables that. So you can also see just here I'm putting in the toilets, so I kind of thought, you know what, that wall is a little bit bland, I'll just put a toilet in there, and then I'm just copying the theme all the way through again, so there's no, you know, the continuity is all the way there for you. I was having a little bit of a nightmare with the path there, as you noticed, and basically it wouldn't delete. Even though I had the intention of moving this building slightly, I still linked the path up. I don't know why. But anyway, you'll notice I put some barriers underground. Reason for that, it stops the people cutting through the buildings and glitching through. So a good way to demarcate items. So what we're doing here is just sizing up the building basically with the windows, see which kind of fits best for that perspective. I do quite a bit of force perspective, so you kind of have it shorter on the levels as you go up, and then basically larger at the lower side of things, so it just kind of makes it feel further away. Comes out really well. I also lowered the whole of the light pink area wall down. You'll see on the back of the page there, screen, sorry, the raised planking, and that's how much I lowered it down to get it into perspective. So next step, put the windows in, pillars, etc. on the ground floor, first floor, however you do it, and it comes out really well from my perspective anyway. So woodwork, I have gone over the top with this one. I shouldn't have done it because of piece count, but I thought, hey, might as well for you guys. But just shows what goes into these builds. It's not just 1, 2, 3 bits of panels and so forth. There's a lot more to it. People that have inspired me over the years, Wix, FS Ranger, I mean the list can go on, literally, and watching them build kind of has given me the inspiration to be able to do what I do. So yeah. So you'll see from this part of the video, kind of putting in the outline for where I want the roof. Also working on the interior beams and so forth, because obviously the roof coincides with that, or should I say the ceiling. A moment ago you would have seen the toilet entrance coming through, so there's going to be an awning into the building coming out there for you. And as you can see, with the beams going around the front of the building, I've overlapped them by a couple of feet, just so that the structure above can come out a little bit more. And the style's really starting to kick in now. You can see that via the bottom, the details coming in, the lighting, there's so much depth to it. You can see there, just putting the odd little bits of pillar in just to give it that little bit more detail. And again, it's just one big bit, not 5-10 different little bits. So again, it's knowing the items in the game. The one thing that really does help with this game more than anything is knowing the pieces in the game and knowing really off by heart how the game works, how to control the game, how to move the pieces. Think when you look at a piece that could be used in a million different ways, not just one. So now that we've got the kind of first floor exterior outlined, should we say, start a little bit on the roof, but now just starting up to build the top sections to the building. So you'll see that they'll become quite short compared to the lower floor, but it's all in perspective of force perspective. So it works quite well. Really does. So using different types of roof here as well. So just using the traditional wood roof for the center section, and I can't quite remember what that big arch one's called, but it's more of a fantasy style roof with the way that the wood is on the ends. And then you just need to line these little bits up. You'll notice I'm not using the grid. So even though these pieces are grid pieces, I'm not using it because I want it to line up perfectly, and just be able to position them exactly where I want them. Now I'm just adding in a couple of fantasy top rooftops there, as you've just seen. Put some plaster on the sides there because they were a wood finish, and obviously the building's a plastered finish. and then just trellising them up with the wood beams, finishing up the windows, or starting them should I say, but just going around finishing all the little bits that I've missed as you go, because copy and pasting everything isn't quite there all the time. And then again, just little bits of trimming just coming through. You can really see that depth now, that the lower floor is smaller than the mid, but the mid is thinner than the lower. It just all starts to make sense once you put it all together. Throughout the last few scenes, I've been working on the brackets, the supports on the pillars, and you'll notice that the lower sections have got the large ones. In a moment, you'll see in the video there will be me replacing the upper ones because I wanted them to again look a little bit smaller. And again, with this particular part of the roof here, just kind of playing around really. It did become the end result, but again, just playing with the look, the feel, because you look at that roof, it's pure Western or just a standard kind of roof line, but then by the time you're done with it, you can really change it up and make it look quite funky. Never miss a panel either, so even to the left and right of that centre, they're panelled up as well, as you'll notice as we go through the video. So starting work on the right side of the building now. Again, fantasy-esque rooftop, very different to the other side of the building, but it kind of works because of the theme and the way we're going with the park. So, and again, just translating the lower level up top again. Now the trim work, so again just going around the lower levels, sorting out the kind of banister that goes around. Have a little play around with the pillars on it because I wasn't sure how I actually wanted it. But then as we come into here, as I say in the awning to the actual toilets, just literally a few bits of wood kind of covers the outline of the roof, another bit of plaster, pop it in there, ceiling's done. And then the outer piece, again, the only grid pieces are the roof really that we're using. And again, just a simple piece there, just a basic shape. Again, I could have done it with wood, you know, the end of the wood, and done a circle and an inner circle and so forth, but it would have taken about 20-30 pieces. And you'll notice there, instead of having 2 extra pieces on each one, I just moved them into position. So it's those little bits that make the game run so much better because you're not using multiple items. And again, as you can see with the brackets, just working on them there. And a bit of an overlap there on the roof line. Again, just trimming, all trimming. So don't miss it's the bits that are in the corners like that some people miss, but to me they're the bits that stand out because it shows they're not quite finished, and that's not being big-headed, that's just looking at the game on its face value. And you can see there, use bigger bits, it covers more of an area, less items used, and basically get a better experience with the game, guys. Placing some foliage now. As you can see, I picked, I think it was the stucco one at first, but then decided to change it into the basket, flower basket. But yeah, so as you can see, syncing them, putting them in different places, making sure the kind of sight lines are right, height, so forth, the position of where they are on the windows. I know it sounds complicated, but it's literally like that. And then as you can see, I've noticed that the frames on the windows were white, so I've changed those to brown. It's those little details that just bring the whole build together. Genuinely is. If you kind of cover everything off, like the chimneys, make sure the stone is the same as the lower stone. It's not the same material, but it's the same color, so it kind of blends and it works. And then just topping off this particular chimney with a brown top to go with the wood. And then we've got another one, just syncing it, getting the angles right, making sure they're different heights so that they're not repetitive. And then as we come into here, I thought, you know what, that looks a little bit kind of open. Needs a little bit of kind of structural support from a view point of view if you're that way inclined, but also some decoration. So instead of doing something just there, I thought I might as well use it usable, make it usable in respect to the supporting the roof. So works fine. Again, got the little stones just there, and I decided to put them in around the side of the building as well. But once you actually get the floor in, they start to make sense, even though they're a different colour. Now I'm just tidying up the side here, making it a little bit longer, or larger, should we say. That's the only downside to building bespokely with so many pieces is copy and pasting everything. Nothing moves in a straight line unless you're only doing a certain section. So as you can see here, just individually spreading them out, sorting them out, putting all the pillars in place and so forth, replicating the look, bringing it through. And it coincides with the rest of the building quite quickly. You'll see a couple of little fantasy tops there as well. They were done like the central one. Now you'll see there, I don't know if you just quickly caught it, but the back of the building is not done. All I've actually done with it is kind of covered it up really with a grey material, because it's not going to be seen. It's not going to be seen from any rides or walkways, so I didn't see the point of doing the back of the building. Now we're just trimming up around the frames of the shops, making that a little bit more detailed for us all. And it just works. Have to use smaller pieces on these due to the size of them, but yeah, really starting to come together now. Placed the watering well there with little castle piece and castle surround piece, coloured it brown. It looks like wood, kind of fits the area perfectly. Purpose of the castle piece was because it is finished in the Caribbean style, which doesn't work for me. So we're attempting some lighting now. People have congratulated on my lighting over the years, and the reason being is it's all very minimalistic really. I use as much of the light that I can get from one single source to cover as much as possible, which then you're not covering a building in lights, oversaturating the colour and so forth. You'll see what I mean by that in just a second when I put the lights in underneath where the shops are. A lot of people will go for like let's say white and select pure white. Problem is it is over white. So if you select like a grey or a darker white, which is a grey, it kind of dulls it down, but you still have that essence there. So for instance, I wanted to capture a similar light to the lanterns that was creating, so I chose yellow and I just selected a slightly darker yellow, and it just brings it all in perfectly. And a little bit of light down the side, and we're pretty much done. So here's some cinematics of the building in its finished state. It may change between now and the finished article, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyed building it. It's amazing the amount of time it takes compared to a 29-minute video. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Thank you all to the new subscribers that have joined the channel. It is extremely appreciated. The support alone, just in your views and time, and congratulations on whatever you want to say about the videos, is hugely appreciated. Anyway, stay safe, stay well, happy coastering all, and I hope you enjoy the final moments of this video. Speak to you all very, very soon.